Oh yeah!
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the HPJP show, the show where myself and JP bring random topics of discussion for your amusement. It goes live every other Saturday at youtube.com/HexxedPhenom and on podcast services around the globe, places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, really any podcast service of your choosing. And today, the random topic of for your amusement that we're choosing to talk about is video games. Of course, we do have a video game podcast, but
I thought we talked about cooking. Thought we were making some wings. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe one day. But,
maybe one day we could do that.
But if you guys didn't know, we also have a video game podcast, Pizza and Pixels. It's also available on podcast services around the globe and at youtube.com/HexxedPhenom. But we're going to be talking today about Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, because it's a game that is extremely important to both of us, and we just couldn't wait until the next episode of Pizza and Pixels to talk about it.
It's my childhood. God damn.
It's one of the first games I remember playing as a kid.
You know, it's ironic because the whole concept came up, like Naughty Dog made the trilogy, and they had one more game on their contract, and they're like, well, why don't you guys do a racing game? So basically, when they made this game, they're like, all right, well, we're going to make a really awesome racing game, but we want to end the fucking series because we created this series. We should end it. So they made Crash Team Racing, and they made Oxide as a character to be an absolute joke. And lo and behold, here we are, 20 years later, almost to the release, on September 30th.
Damn it, JP, what the hell are you doing?
I don't know what the hell just happened. Pokemon playing. Fuck. So... Damn, yo, Pokemon just totally bombed it. Well, okay, so back to the Oxide thing. They're like, well, we're gonna end this, and we're gonna make this like kind of like a cool game, but then it's kind of like, really, they had an alien as the boss, and then here we are now. About 20 years later, the game came out on September 30th, 1999. I don't know how the hell I remember that offhand, but I do. And yeah, they're like, hey, we're going to have an alien that takes over Earth and races the best person on planet Earth. And here we are 20 years later, and it is one of the greatest concepts that has ever happened. Crazy how it all went. It all was like a joke to them, and here we are playing a legendary game.
It is crazy that they were like, oh yeah, this will kill the series.
Oh, this will kill the series.
And then arguably it made it more popular.
And it spawned spin-offs like Crash Bash with Nitrous Oxide as the boss. God damn. There's just so many things with CTR in general and the Crash series, but thinking of CTR, it's like how it started and how it went. It kind of just comes to show you that you never know how things are going to go. You could be like, well, I don't really like this too much. We're going to do this, and then it becomes pop culture just like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What kind of memories do you have with Crash Team Racing? I almost said Crash Bash. I'm like, wait a minute.
Honestly, I'll be honest with the original version. I don't have many memories with it because, like I said, it was one of the first games I remember playing. So... by proxy, I was not very good. So, I just remember probably not ever really doing any of the drifts or anything, which basically meant I was like losing every race probably. I don't really remember, but yeah, I'm so glad that I can, fully get to experience it now.
And man, me on the other hand, oh my god. I would love to know the amount of time that I spent playing the original game. Like, it was probably pretty concerning, but it was pretty addicting. And for what it was worth, though, it really changed racing games as it was. Personally, I love Mario Kart, but CTR just does it way better. Same with Crash Bash, in my opinion. I think the demographic changes, and that's what gets people more addicted to it, because compared to like Mario Kart, where it was more family friendly, Crash was obviously PG, but it was more on like the PG violence kind of side. So it kind of gave you something to like, it just gave you all different elements to really go after. And seeing the market left, and then it obviously led into Crash Bash. It's kind of like the dynamic duo of party games, essentially, because literally anybody could jump on CTR. And then obviously even Crash Bash if they wanted, but that's not our focus. The racing part, though?
The great thing about CTR is it's simple enough that anybody can pick up and play it.
Yeah. And you
but
can have
it's
fun with
hard to master, and
Yeah.
there's quite a high skill ceiling. So it's like a easy to learn, hard to master kind of game,
And
which
yeah.
I really appreciate, especially because thinking about how, for lack of a better term, simple Mario Kart 64 was, which was this game's direct competitor at the time.
And honestly, Mario Kart's the exact same thing every game. It's just instead of the thing that really brings CTR for me is like what he was saying, how it's hard to master. So CTR, you could do between CTR tokens, the relics, you could play different difficulties, you could do different Grand Prix. Mario Kart, you could only do 3 difficulties, and that's the only thing you could do.
Yeah.
Whether it's tag team or it's solo. So it gives you a lot more to do and a lot more to master. And the cool part is, like we'll definitely get into, there's a lot of hidden things, a lot of secrets, a lot of content that your average user wouldn't really know what's there until they played around with the formula. Unlike Mario Kart, it's all right there in front of you.
Yeah, like for instance with Mario Kart, I mean, CTR did what I would say is the first kart racing story mode in 1999, and Mario Kart has still yet
to attempt it. Yeah.
The only story in Mario Kart is still just
collecting trophies,
going through the Grand Prix. Yeah,
that's all it is. There's no story. It's just racing. That's like a NASCAR game except in karts, which is cool. It's just seeing how you have the Crash Bandicoot name, the universe, the characters, and it's more prominent than ever that there is one hell of a fucking roster of people. And the cool part is, unlike in the first game, now that it is back and it's remastered, you get the grand sequel, which is Crash Nitro Kart, which wasn't as popular, but it was still a legendary game on the PS2, the GameCube, the Xbox. Yeah. And that's actually what gave Nintendo players and Xbox players the chance to play what was only on PlayStation exclusively in 1999.
Yeah. And of course, CTR Nitro Fueled now has all of the Crash Nitro Kart tracks, all of the Crash Nitro Kart characters, all of the karts.
And the cool part is, with the DLC Grand Prix, they are going to expand into that world of giving us new karts, new characters,
completely new karts, completely new tracks,
trilogies,
new characters, tracks, skins, customization items.
So realistically, in the past 20 years, like in terms of that comparison, I feel like Crash Bandicoot has established themselves as the flagship kart game because of how far it evolved, and it came full circle. You have the whole roster, and it's just like as an opener for the remaster, it really sets the series on that track where you wonder what's going to happen next.
I mean, of course, it all comes down to personal preference, but for me, like Mario Kart, for instance, we'll go with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because
there you go. That's
the most recent one.
That's the most recent one. We all probably played it.
So
most likely,
there is quite a bit more tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think there's 48 compared to CTR's 31, 32 if you have the PS4 version.
But then again, doesn't Mario Kart just carry over every other Mario Kart track?
Well, not everyone, but yeah, a lot of them are like, usually half the cups are like, here's this track from the GameCube, here's this track from the DS, this track from the 64.
The nostalgia Grand Prix and stuff like that, as I call them. Okay,
which, granted, we can't really...
They have 8 games.
Yeah.
So, when Crash
not only that,
games,
but also,
that'll happen.
CTR is, right now, there's no original tracks, you know what I mean?
Wow, that's a remaster, but if they make a new one in the future, though, which I'm sure they might be open to doing that after the success of this.
I would love to see that.
I think if I had to make a very bold prediction, but it's kind of predictable, I feel like now that Activision sees Spyro and Crash as top-tier series now, again, I feel like we're going to start seeing more crossovers and more original titles. So. And we'll finally get that sequel to Crash Warped. I feel like we'll eventually get a brand new Crash racing game, probably on PS5 or the next gen. How cool would it be to see a Spyro racing game?
I'm not gonna lie, it honestly wouldn't surprise me if there was some sort of original Crash game that was possibly even a launch title for PS5.
That's what I think they're gonna do. I feel, and if not, it's gonna be probably maybe like a main series installment will happen right before the next gen, and then there will be another thing right ready for the PS5, like a remaster or a reimagination. But it does make you think. Imagine if instead of making a Crash racing game, the next game they make is where the tables are flipped, where it's a Spyro racing game with Crash stuff added into it. That would be really interesting to see where it would go.
I honestly actually wouldn't mind if it was more like an even split kind of crossover thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say like an even split kind of like CTR meets like Spyro, because I feel like they're setting it up with this Grand Prix that they have for Spyro.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what content that'll have, because I feel like that'll definitely.
Can you imagine the racetracks from Spyro? I think it needs to
That's
happen.
what I mean. I feel like that'd be awesome.
It's a missed opportunity, and we know Activision loves money, so I think they should definitely look into that. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, the impression that the series has left over the years. God, man, from '99, I remember so many articles and so many rumors that it was going to be relaunched, remastered, and it makes me feel very good knowing that 20 years later that we have it. I mean, I was literally 8 years old just about when the first one came out, and me and Byers played it all the time for at least 2 years straight.
I was like 5 months old when the game came out.
Man, that kind of makes me feel a little old, but I feel young at heart, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, though. And yeah, I think the future of the series, whether it is obviously a Spyro Crash hybrid game, which I think that should be the third installment. I mean, I know Crash Tag Team Racing was there, but I don't think many people classify that as a real sequel. It's just kind of a gimmick.
Honestly, it really just tried to capitalize on the hype of Mario Kart Double Dash.
Yeah, that was exactly what it was. So,
but by that time, I want to say, I don't remember what year that came out, but I feel like
it was, I think, 2005
maybe.
Wait, because Crash Nitro Kart came out
2003.
Like 2003. I think
it was either 2005 or 6.
I think it was 2006. I actually played Crash Tag Team Racing, and I love it. The Mario Kart Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart game, FYI. And
I never got to play Mario Kart Double Dash.
It's so fucking good.
I always wanted to. I always remember seeing the commercials for it, and I was like, I want it so bad, but I didn't have a GameCube.
Exactly, and I had the freaking GameCube, and once again, me and Byers absolutely wrecked that game, and it was so good. When I get a GameCube again, that is like at the top of the list, besides like a wrestling game or something, like WrestleMania 18 or Day of Reckoning. And yeah, Crash Tag Team Racing was just a absolute ripoff. And like here's the interesting part. So obviously Naughty Dog was not in charge of Crash Tag Team Racing, or else it would have been like CTR. And the cool part was when Naughty Dog's like, hey, okay, we're going to do this racing game, how are we going to do it? They approached it in a way that they didn't rip off Mario Kart. They took Mario Kart and they made it their own thing. And whereas Crash Tag Team Racing, I don't even know.
It was literally just Mario Kart Double Dash.
I think Vicarious Visions was in charge of making that game.
No, it
wasn't them?
It was Radical Entertainment and Sierra.
Oh, okay, because, wait, was Vicarious Visions Nitro Kart?
That was Nitro Kart.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so Vicarious Visions, you're off the hook. But
you're off the hook.
But the other two, oh my god, yeah. Because when you played this game, like I enjoyed it for what it was, but it just was not that good. I honestly got it for $5, and the thing that was weird was it literally was like he said, it was Mario Kart Double Dash with like these new Crash characters, like Nina Cortex, which is definitely gonna probably be in the.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna add those characters in, which is cool.
Well, Nina
came in around right after Twinsanity.
Yeah, or she was in Twinsanity.
I think,
but I don't remember which game came out first.
I think
they came out right around the same time.
That game should probably be remastered as well. Twinsanity, for how controversial it kind of was for where the series went, it was actually a pretty good game for how weird it was.
I never finished it because it was like it was pretty damn hard.
I don't know.
As a kid, it was, but I don't know.
Yeah, it took the normal Crash formula basically, and it like turned it upside down. And it was like a classic. And it gave it like more open world environment. Yeah, so I'd like to see that remastered. But yeah, with Tag Team Racing, The thing that was really weird to me was you would be racing in these tracks, but the adventure mode
was a platformer.
Yeah, it was like you'd have to platform and get weird coins to jump in your cart, and it was a bombshell.
Yeah.
It just did not work. So
because you had to collect coins to buy
items, but then
to buy each character's like skins and
their
carts
special weapons,
and
I'm just like, wow.
I don't remember if you needed the coins to buy into tracks, but
I'm pretty sure. I think you could actually buy tracks that they had in the store, but the adventure ones you would get when you race them and win at them. So I was like, oh, okay. So I honestly, this would be pretty cool to see, since CTR Nitro Fueled is going to be supported for 2 to 3 years. I think Activision said. I know they have a long-term game plan for this thing.
I don't know if they've announced specifically, but I know at the very least the first Grand Prix DLC comes out July 4th. Yeah,
no.
I think it's the first week of July.
Yeah,
I don't
first
know
week
what
of
it
July,
is.
I think, as I say.
July like 3rd or 5th, somewhere around there. And then they didn't announce dates for the other two, but I would assume they would come out within
By the end of the year, guaranteed.
definitely by the end of the year.
Will be out. So
and they said that there was more to come after that. So I'd say at the very least a year, if not more.
I honestly, yeah, if I had to assume, we're probably looking at least 2 years, because like this game is gonna have a lot of fucking money, whether it's on the next gen or not. But next gen is gonna be backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So that opens that out. That's why I think it might be 2 years. I think an interesting idea is, I mean, clearly we all know that they're gonna probably bring in every single major character from the universe at some point across the racing games. So I'm assuming Nina Cortex will be in, and like people from Tag Team Racing. But how cool would it be if they made a separate mode where they brought in the Tag Team Racing concept in the CTR, since they brought Nitro Kart in the CTR? I feel like that would actually make people look at it in a different kind of way, because it would be done the right way now.
I mean,
Maybe. But the characters will definitely be in, and the tracks will be in, I'm sure. But
I don't know. I mean,
it's an interesting concept. Like, I think if they did that as a random add-on, I think that would be cool. We already know.
I think it'd be cool, but I feel like that might be a little too ambitious for a free DLC. Maybe if
you paid like $10,
yeah,
you could get
maybe
the double
paid
thing.
DLC, but
yeah,
I don't know. Definitely not for free.
We could safely assume though that we'll definitely see Nina Cortex.
I think we'll definitely see some of the other CTTR people, because
it just makes sense.
I don't remember which.
They put out a teaser that looked like Nina Cortex. I'm not gonna lie. It was a black and white image of a security camera of someone flying through, and I randomly edited it, and it looks like Nina Cortex, but they're covered by a mask. That's the problem. They have the evil mask on. So
I didn't see that teaser.
Yeah, actually, you know what?
But
I think they have it actually.
I think it's in the second Grand Prix. They showed one of the new carts that's going to be coming in, and it's one of Pasadena's carts from Tag Team Racing.
From Tag Team Racing, so I was like,
so it wouldn't surprise me if her and Von Clutch get added at some point, as well as I don't remember the name of the character, but like the mascot for like the theme park or whatever. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's they randomly put out a teaser, and whoever it is, they're covered by, like, obviously it's a real world thing with someone put in the photo, but it looks like someone with the evil mask, and people are like, it's Nina Cortex, and I'm like, I'm not surprised, but that's probably maybe a secret for the next season of content.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen? So we already saw the layout of what the first season will be, but the Spyro one, they just have Spyro, which is more than enough to tease people. You already know.
Yeah. I have a feeling that
might start the concept we were talking about, possibly.
Well, I have a feeling it's not just going to be Spyro as a character. I'm sure they'll probably talk about it more in the future, but I think it'll probably be a couple of Spyro characters, obviously new carts and skins for existing characters, and probably a Spyro themed track of some kind.
Yeah, my guess is the Spyro themed track, more carts, and probably Spyro theme maybe. And I feel like the characters are going to be Spyro and probably like the villains of the game, and maybe another ally.
I could see
maybe, like Hunter or something.
Yeah, like Spyro, Hunter,
Like, they're going to have the
Ripto Nasty Nork and
Nasty
the
Nork
Sorceress.
and the Sorceress. And what game would the track be from? I would like to assume the track... It's only one track per Grand Prix that's an original concept, right?
As of right now, that's what they've announced, yeah.
If I had to pick a game where they're going to do it from, it's probably going to be Spyro the Dragon.
Yeah, probably.
Just to play it safe. But I feel like this Grand Prix might open up that idea of a Crash Spyro racing game.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool. It's going to be interesting. And, you know, in the future, can you imagine how many characters we're going to have by the end of this game?
It's going to be insane.
It is going to be literally insane. I hope to God... So, ironically, in the original game... So, as you can imagine...
I mean, as of right now, we already know what? I mean, there's 25, 26 in the game right now?
And the original roster only had half of that.
Yeah.
So
I think there's 25 right now, including Pentapenguin.
And the way they built the roster layout, you could easily add more fucking people if you want.
And then we already know in the first DLC, there's 5 characters coming. There's Tawna and then the 4 trophy girls. And then DLC 2 is Baby T.
The babies. Baby Coco, Baby Crash, Baby Cortex. You think Baby Entropy's gonna be in? I kind of hope he is.
I hope he is, because that wouldn't make sense. They already have some sort of model for him from the cutscene. But
Baby Cortex, Baby Coco.
Yeah, they're probably going to be different characters. I don't think they'll be skins. I think they'll probably be separate characters.
The baby add-on.
And then
obviously
Spyro, which we assume is going to have multiple characters, but we can't be 100% sure for right now.
Yeah, I think the 3 villains, Spyro and Hunter.
And then plus more to come, I think.
I would say Sparks, but that wouldn't make any damn sense at all. It just wouldn't make sense. Maybe Alonia will be in. Alonia, Hunter, and Spyro. That seems like...
Alora.
Or Alora. Oh, I call her Alonia for some reason. Alora. All right. There we go. So, we learned many things today.
I wouldn't mind seeing all of the other playable characters from Year of the Dragon as well.
I feel like...
But I know they're not going to put, 9 Spyro characters in the game, you know what I mean?
Because
I wouldn't mind Spyro and then Bentley, Sergeant Bird. Sheila, Agent 9.
I honestly think, though, this whole Spyro Grand Prix, the Grand Prix, yeah, we rocking at the Grand Prix. So, I feel like really this Spyro tease is really to see what people think about Spyro being in the Crash universe.
I think what'll probably happen is, depending on how people feel about it, which I'm sure 95% of people are going to be over the moon about it.
Yeah, they're going to.
I think that'll open up the possibility of the next couple, the next season or so of DLC being each thing being 2 Crash characters and 2 Spyro characters or something like that.
I do have a random name though. If they decide to do a Crash Spyro crossover game, imagine if they called it like Crash Team Racing Battle Royal or some crap, and they literally had everybody from. Even Twisted Metal in the game and shit like that. I know they did PlayStation Battle Royal.
Super ambitious, but there's no way they'd be able to do that without it being a Sony exclusive thing.
That'd be so cool, though. Can you imagine that? Sweet Tooth and Crash Team Racing? I'd shit.
I don't know. I mean, they killed off PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale and everything, but I would have loved to have seen a PlayStation All-Stars karting game.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking maybe they might be thinking of a different Battle Royale.
But I already know Activision's not going to be willing to give any part of that profit to Sony if they were to do a full-on PlayStation thing. At least Crash and Spyro they own, so they can keep all the money from it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it's kind of you could definitely see the tease is probably happening. I think they know that they have something great. I think they know that they have a AAA series and that it will be a series that people will probably never forget about, especially after this remaster, because it's just glorious. It does just make you wonder what will happen.
Yeah.
And
I could see in the future, in terms of characters, in terms of remaining Crash characters that we don't 100% know about right now, I'd say Nina is a good bet. Pasadena and Von Clutch is a good bet. There was, I don't remember if he even had a name, but I know there's a mascot in Crash Tag Team Racing for the the theme park that they're in. He's like a giant Wumpa fruit with like a weird nose.
Yeah, he's probably.
I don't remember his name, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him.
I think he was just known as Mr. Wumpa.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, that's a given, no doubt.
Other than that, I could see Rillaroo maybe and Koala Kong, like a couple of the villains that we haven't, you know what I mean? Embryo, a couple villains that just haven't made their way into CTR.
So the interesting part with CTR is when the original game came out, like Petachonis was a character in production that they never finished, but we all know the lore of that. If not, you're definitely not a dedicated player. But if you don't know, Petachonis was supposed to be in the game and have his own original dialogue and all that stuff, and he's just the penguin that you know from all the games. And instead they used him as mainly a test, and they just added random sound bites, and then they
didn't finish him, and they forgot to take him off the like printed like the gold version of the game. So
then they started figuring out that people found the cheat codes, and they're like, oh fuck. so Pentapenguin's like, Pentapenguin for me is like that nostalgic connection between this and the remaster, because knowing they put him in and he's a finished character now, it's like, that's kind of cool.
Because in the original, he had maxed out stats, right?
In the original, he was just as good as Oxide, and in fact, I beat Oxide with Pentapenguin. So
he had maxed out stats, and then. But the thing is there was like random sound bites of just like a random like audio engineer just being like,
woo!
Penguin yay 1, Penguin yay 2, and stuff like that. And so
he still comes off at lines like that in the remaster. They had someone remaster the lines. Oh, here's Pet the yay 1, but it'll go, yeah, I'm a penguin, and I'm like, oh, it's cool. It's very nostalgic knowing that they. This also makes me wonder what else they're going to do, because it seems like everything that Naughty Dog could have possibly done in 99, Beanox went on that and they knew of it, and they added and finished these ideas for the remaster. Like the environments having like the colossal crash heads and the giant crystals, and Pentapenguin being finished.
That's one thing I love is like
fixed.
Especially like with, I mean, we saw a similar thing with Spyro Reignited Trilogy and Crash Insane Trilogy. Mm-hmm. But it's crazy to see how like they can just look at like an environment that for all intents and purposes was just like basic flat textures in the 90s, and can translate it into these full
fucking huge environments.
Huge environments with like lush forests and all this random architecture that was just not even there in the original.
Yeah, you would believe that it's like a real fucking place in the world or something.
Like you said, on Crash Cove, now there's a giant like cutout of Crash's head on the side of like some of the mountains, and even far off in the background you can see like pirate ships sailing around and stuff.
Some of the cool stuff.
Or Coco Park, there's giant statues of Coco now, and the lush like flowers and everything.
Yeah, they added all that, and even in the home worlds, like Insanity Beach, they added the crash head. The pirate ship is more defined with new stuff on it. They added like little monkeys and like animal wildlife around, and even on the tracks like Sewer Speedway, our favorite track, they have the guys shooting their guns, and it's kind of cool how they took the animations from the trilogy remaster and put those given guys with the same animations in the track shooting the guns and stuff.
Yeah.
It makes it more believable. And the thing that really got me was in the original game, when you went to fight the bosses, what would happen was they had them just sitting in front of a garage plated door with their face on it, just babbling like idiots with the text. And now in the remaster, they have them come out of random places, and then they make their way to their position in the original game, and now they have the full-on warp portals. It's cool how they just improved on these ideas that people
One of the
wanted.
Funniest ones is Ripperoo's. I mean, he's the first one, but he like launches himself off the top of a mountain with like TNT and flops into his cart.
It's just perfect. And some of the other things I picked up on, when you drive into Komodo Joe's lair, the original Komodo brother was supposed to be in the game, and he's in the game, I believe. You can unlock him. I think it's Komodo Khan or something like that, or is that an attire for Komodo Joe?
I have no idea.
I know there's a Komodo Khan in the game. I forget what the other Komodo brother is, but...
Isn't it... This is probably wrong. Isn't it Komodo Joe and Komodo Mo?
I'm not really too sure, actually. I
don't
reckon...
know.
I only know Komodo Joe because they publicized him in CTR. The other was supposed to make an appearance, so I think he's in the game. But the cool part is when you drive from Insanity Beach into the winter, your tires get snow in them. And like then
your tire treads.
Your tire treads go, and then the environment, just compared to the original game, if you put it side by side, you would not even be able to tell you're driving in the same region of the world. You're like, this is really crazy.
That was a thing that I had with like both Spyro and the Reignited trilogy and the Insane trilogy. It's like I recognize the layouts of most of the levels, but like the actual visuals makes it seem like a completely different level for most of the levels.
It makes it a whole new world.
And the same with CTR and a lot of the tracks. Like, granted, I haven't played the original CTR since I was really young, so a lot of the tracks I didn't really remember the layouts of. Nitro Kart I was a little bit more familiar with since I was obviously older when I played that game, but even the Nitro Kart tracks I barely recognize. Although one reason for that is because to fit the theme of CTR, they remodeled a lot of the Nitro Kart tracks so that you didn't have like the going upside down with like the hover carts and shit like that.
I'm kind of glad they did that because I mean I liked it, but the thing is the casual player could not fucking do that. They just couldn't do it. You'd have to be more experienced.
Yeah, it was jarring because there would be a lot of times where you'd be driving and then you would go straight down and then straight up like a loop-de-loop and then back and around and you'd be upside down and you'd go like do like a full loop sometimes.
Full loop-de-loop, and your wheels would literally go flat and they would have the magnets on them, and
which I feel like maybe another reason they decided not to do it is because it's just Mario Kart just did that in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, and they just
even though
finally
Nitro Kart did it in 2003, but most people would just be like,
hey, Mario Kart did it first. Mario Kart 8. And the cool part that I really liked was there is a bonus track in the game that is the Super Hyper Speedway from the PS1 brought into the remaster. So it is the same PS1 polygon textured map before they remade it.
Yeah.
That is nostalgic.
And the interesting thing to me, or like the little details I love about stuff like that is I believe that track, and there's a couple of retro skins and retro carts that I want to say are PS4 exclusive. I know for a fact the retro stadium is PS4 exclusive. It's just PlayStation emblems all over that fucking track.
Yeah, this is
but I'm not 100% sure about the carts and the skins.
I think the carts and the skins are a 1-year exclusive. I think, because I think everybody wants those. But yeah, the bonus track, if it's in the Xbox, it's gonna have to be heavily remodeled because there's PlayStation logos everywhere.
Yeah.
It is everywhere.
But the coolest thing to me about it is it's not, I mean, obviously, it's a completely different engine. They couldn't just port the track and then just, like, paste over the logos that were already in the track. They had to rebuild it from the ground up, but they had to study, like, the polygons on the original models to make them look just right. And that goes for the retro skins and the retro carts as well.
I'm sure it's, if Naughty Dog doesn't have the level schematics, they just could pop them into the program. The program creates
Naughty Dog gave them
everything.
The level geometry for
geometry and all that.
For the Insane trilogy. So I would assume they probably still have the CTR ones laying around as well.
I'm thinking of
Spyro, they had to completely go through with a program called the Spyroscope, which they had to go and play through the PS1 version, and it would just recognize the level geometry and extract it, and
it would create a level,
basically render it into a wireframe that they could use on the new engine, because I guess Insomniac didn't have the wireframes left over from Spyro.
Somehow, I don't know why you would lose that. Apparently they lost them. It's just like the Tony Hawk ones. I was like, how do you lose those levels, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
But
it's probably not as hard as you would think.
Not as hard. It probably just happened randomly with technology advancing. Yeah, it's crazy. And then even when you're driving into the castle, like Citadel City, instead of like just seeing the green thing in the background, they now have Cortex statues
Oh yeah.
in the window. They now have the hot air balloons, or there's more of them, and they're more realistic. And yeah, and then there's Oxide's area. Oxide's area is the most changed because visually it got a huge overhaul, and all the crystals and all the stone and stuff that they had in the original got re-rendered and obviously was designed better. But the cool part was now they actually have Oxide with his hologram right there looking at you as you drive around. That wasn't in the original game at all.
That's one of my favorite things is like retroactively adding details like that.
That would have been in the original, but they couldn't do it because of
either technical limitations or time constraints or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But like another one of my favorite little Easter eggs is, for anybody that's played Crash Twinsanity, you'll know that in the the opening level, or however you want to say it, because that game doesn't really have linear level structure, but in like the opening sequence, Cortex is dressed up as Coco, and is like getting Crash to like come along to eventually try to trap him and fucking kill him. But one of my favorite things is in the Cortex Castle racetrack, some of the glass, like the stained glass windows, have Cortex dressed up as Coco in like the stained glass, and I'm just like, the little things like that.
Yeah, it's just they pay attention to the series.
Absolutely incredible to me.
So you honestly at this point with Beanox, I feel like Beanox is now established as like the remaster company. They are now remastering Modern Warfare 2, for example. They just did this one.
They're rumored to be remastering Modern Warfare 2.
Didn't Beanox... Well, Toys for Bob did Spyro. Didn't Beanox help with the remaster of the original series? I'm pretty sure.
I think they helped with the Insane Trilogy,
yeah. I was going to say, it seems like they're on a roll with these remasters. So it's like... And it shows because you could tell that they're fans, they know what they're doing, and they know the timeline, they know like the main games that people care about. So having Twinsanity thrown into the game, which is interesting, as Twinsanity happened 5 years after CTR even came out.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 years.
So it's really cool just seeing how they did that. It gives me hope for that Twinsanity remaster, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Maybe they're telling us a sign.
Maybe, but
there's so many little things that add up in this remaster, and to tell you the truth, the game is more addicting than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I was heavily addicted to the first game, and I did everything you possibly could, like all the Oxide times, you name it, because I thought you'd get Oxide by beating his times, and that was a crock of shit in the end. But damn it, I tried. I was a tryhard, and
I mean,
I did it.
Obviously, since you can use the Game Shark to play as him, he was planned to be in there somewhere.
He was planned to be in. They just ran out of time. In the original game, I know for sure they wanted to put Nitrous Brio in, but they just ran out of time.
It's crazy to think like
Koala Kong. I think
that game was essentially made in like
90
in like 9-10 months. Like the whole development time for that game was like 10 months.
And they started making that game right after Warped.
It was like literally, I think it was before Warped even like shipped. They were already working on CTR.
Yeah, so they originally in CTR 99 they wanted to get every major character from the 3 games, but they had a leveled roster and they were adding in people that made sense, like the bosses and everything. They wanted to put Koala Kong in. They wanted to put Nitrous Brio in the game. I think everybody else, for the most part, made it into the game besides Penguin and Oxide.
And the other Komodo brother. Although I don't know if they were going to have both Komodo brothers playable.
Yeah, that was the original idea. They wanted to have both Komodo brothers, and apparently the idea for the race that was Komodo Joe, you would have to race both of the Komodo brothers.
Oh yeah,
that was the plan.
Fuck that, first of all, because Dragon Mines is fucking horrible. So let alone having to fucking deal with both of them throwing shit at you.
Exactly. So the plan of it was that you know how Komodo Joe does like 2 different things practically. Apparently the other brother was supposed to be like, they would be racing the same kind of line but throwing 2 different things at you at once. That was the plan.
Yeah.
but they ran out of time for it, or it just didn't make it in. So I think he's in the remaster. I think I saw him in the shop that you could buy him for $2,500, but we'll have to see. The Game Shark code was pretty cool with Oxide in the original because it didn't work on every track due to just the physics, and they didn't properly implement it.
Yeah.
But it was pretty fucking cool. I had a blast. I know that I tried to unlock him legit, but after that I was like, fuck this, I'm popping in the Game Shark, and that's how I did it.
Yeah.
And yeah, just seeing all the stuff that wasn't in the original game now making its way into like this remaster, it's kind of like it's in perfect sync now.
Yeah.
And what the hell was the other thing I was gonna say? With the original game, I was talking to him about it the other day. So when I looked at the trophies of the remaster and saw the shortcut trophies, I was like, wait, where's this one, that one, this one, that one? And it turns out, for the most part, apparently I was just fully exploiting the game back in the day.
Yeah, because a lot of them were like
a lot of them were not
skips.
Yeah, a lot of them were not technically shortcuts, but they kind of were. It's just because of the PS1 textures and obviously glitches.
Yeah, it was just how, like, the way that the game rendered the tracks as you went along, it was possible to
boundary breach.
Yeah, basically boundary break and, like,
textures.
jump, like, half the course. Because I know specifically on, like, on Papu's Pyramid, there was a way for you to get on top of the one ledge and then just jump right over into the finish line, and it would cut, like, more than half the lap.
You know, and I know exactly how to do it too, but you can't do it in the remaster, obviously. So what you do is, when you're going up around like the little pyramid square, as soon as you come out, you hit the pad, and you immediately, that little grass piece, you could either go and power slide into that grass slope, or you can just full on hit and jump to the left. And if you knew how to pull it off, you could breach and land on the pyramid, but it looked like it was a real thing on the track. It was rendered and it was clipped.
Yeah.
It's just, apparently that wasn't meant to be a shortcut. So, my other favorite is the Hot Air Speedway. How, where the track comes coincided with each other, you could jump the boundary and skip half the track. So there were a lot of little shortcuts. There was a couple that aren't actually shortcuts.
A couple of Oxide Station ones that I remembered about that I was trying to do, and none of them worked.
Yeah, the
Oxide, you used to be able to. One of the
jumped.
ones is like right at the beginning of the track when it has that like double spiral that it does going down.
Yep.
You could, if you turned around and used one of the boost pads to get some speed, you could hop over it.
Backwards.
You could go backwards, hop over the barricade, and fall down to like way more than half the track skipped, where you would come off that big jump, where then it would just be like the couple of chicanes and then the finish line, and you could literally finish Oxide Station in like 40 seconds.
Yeah, these were like the things that I like saw growing up, and I'm like, yo, shortcut. But then when you look at the remaster, you're like, oh, that was an exploit. Oh, like the Hot Air one, the Oxide Station one. Another one, Oxide Station, was when you go up the pad to like go then straight down. Instead, you land going towards the right now. They make you land like that.
Oh, yeah.
In the original, when you went up the slope and you jumped, if you went to the far right, you could land into another part of the track. So you would be half a track ahead.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting knowing that. He was actually telling me about the Coco Park one. It still does exist because Oxide runs it. I did not realize that was a real shortcut. Still, I thought that was just an exploit that you can go up through the flower bed, but yeah, it's kind of cool just seeing all these things and being like, wow, so I was exploiting the game back in '99. That's actually how I beat Oxide on quite a few tracks.
That's what makes the remaster way harder for beating Oxide, because you need to do everything legit, and to do it legit,
you got to be good, man.
I streamed for like 5.5 hours the other night, and I only got like 8 tracks done.
I think right now I have 2 done, because I just randomly did them for the hell of it.
But for me, it was like, the thing I kept saying over and over again on stream was, you need to be better than perfect to beat Oxide, because he essentially takes a perfect lap. So you need to take a somehow more perfect lap than he does.
Yeah,
you need to hit every single shortcut. if there's a track that has a turbo pad, you need to keep that turbo going pretty much the entire remainder of the track if you want to have any chance at beating Oxide.
Yep.
It's insane.
It's insane. Like, now you have to be really damn good. Like, back in the day, it's like you can pick Pen and Penguin, and you could, like, jump the track. That was a shortcut that apparently wasn't, and it was like, oh yeah, I got Oxide, but now it's the real deal where he runs practically the perfect lap, so you have to run the perfect lap to beat him.
Yeah.
And when you do, usually you only beat him by about 0.3 of a second, or it could be about a second. I beat him on one track.
I think the most I beat him by
it's insane.
Was on Slide Coliseum. I think I beat him by like 2 or 3 seconds, but that was it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because that one has a lot of well, you get a lot of boost on that track, right?
No, that one it's a lot of, he usually takes the turns like on the asphalt, but there's a lot of grass that you can just kind of hop and cut right through. Okay, so that's how you make up a lot of time on that one.
So that still exists. That's awesome. I feel like on that track, I might try to use someone that has a lot of turning, but I don't know. I've been debating.
No, I used speed. I did Papu Papu when I was just fucking flying through the grass.
Well, at least I know now, because, yeah, it's interesting, because now,
honestly, I know a lot of, like, for a lot of, just out of curiosity, I was looking at a lot of, like, beating the Oxide Ghost on the original CTR, and a lot of people used Coco.
Yep.
But I tried to, like, I think I only accomplished, actually, no, I haven't been able to beat any Oxide times with anyone other than a top speed built character.
See, in the original game, though, it had a different engine and a different play. Like, now that they rebuilt it, they kind of had to redo the whole, like, schematic of how that works. Like, I could see how people try to use Coco in the new one. It's just, I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to how good are you at the cart control, because that just determines stats. I do like how the stats in the new one now are, like, you could bracketeer them by, like, beginner, intermediate, advanced, and you could see the division of the stats.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of things that just don't work.
Yeah.
That worked in the original for many reasons, whether it was limitations or glitches or just all that stuff. But
I'm sure they probably also did stuff like that to balance online, because it wouldn't be fun at all if someone was skipping half the track and finishing in 50 seconds, because then everybody would get a DNF, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, because, like, you gotta think about the multiplayer standard here, that you have to make sure people cannot remotely do that. I mean, I could pull off insane shortcuts that Oxide kind of did in the original that he now does in this one, like Polar Pass, when you're going up and around and that little thing like this happens, that little loop, when you jump the first turbo pad, in the original game, he didn't exactly jump it like that, but now you could actually
jump right across.
You could hit the mini boost to the first, like, full-on boost pad for everybody, and then as you jump on the first one, that first little thing, you hit it, and you gotta literally go at the turn of the ice and jump and go like that, but while hitting square to, like, really turn.
Yeah.
And you can land perfectly on the other side, flawless. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool how they rework some of these little, like, exploits that are actually now fully possible for everybody to do.
Yeah. Online
should be very interesting. I haven't played
online.
I haven't played
yet. Online at all.
I haven't played online mainly just because I care about online play. It's just, they didn't add anything in the online. It's literally just, you get in the lobby and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, if they added ranks, leaderboards, like, I'd be like, okay, but... So I will definitely be checking out the online play. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I've just been focusing on unlocking the trophies and stuff.
All the trophies and the actual meat and potatoes of the game. But I'm glad they did online. I think that was a given for the remaster.
Yeah.
Like, even when Crash Bash happens, you have to have online play. It's just how people go anymore.
Yeah.
Some people just go right online.
Although, I definitely do appreciate that the option is still there for 4-player split screen.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've seen, at least on pretty much every console except Switch, I've heard that it holds up very well in terms of frame rate and everything, so that's good.
Yeah, everything holds up. It's insane. And online, though, I heard that I heard right now there's a little bit of latency issues, but that's just with the launch because everybody and their mother was trying to play at once. But they put out 2 patches now, so I'm assuming it's flawless, which is great. It's great to know that an Activision game fully works, especially online.
Well, to be fair, I have heard, I don't know if it's
There's a few
specific to certain platforms or what, but I've heard that there is a bug that's corrupting some people's saves.
Oh, wow, shit, really?
And I'm not sure that it's been patched yet, so...
Wow, they really need to
That's
get
one
on
thing to watch out for, but...
Yeah, just in case, because I didn't even know that existed. I just knew that.
I would
there were some
recommend...
launch bugs.
I would definitely recommend every so often, if you're, a PS Plus or Xbox Live Gold subscriber, I would recommend, syncing your save, uploading it to the cloud, whatever. Switch has online saves. Not sure how they work, but I would recommend backing yours up every so often.
Just in case, because, you don't want to lose any second of that hard-earned progress you got, because in this game, with all the unlockables now, that would really fucking suck if you lost everything. Especially with Wampa Coins. That's probably one of the greatest additions in the game, because now there's a reason to keep playing to the end.
Although, to be fair, I think you earn them way too slowly, especially for how much is in the shop, and knowing that there's going to be more added to the shop with each DLC.
I think that they're going to have microtransactions.
I really fucking don't need it in a Crash Bandicoot game. I'm prepared it's Activision, and I'm fully prepared to see it, but just please fucking don't.
Yeah, I feel like if they add microtransactions, though, it's not going to be as bad as people think. Like, right now, you earn them slowly, but if you're, like, a fiend like us, they pile up really goddamn quickly, so...
Honestly, even me, like, fiending, I've only been able to unlock, like, maybe 3 things from the pit stop. I
didn't even try the characters yet. I unlocked 1 character by mistake, because I thought that trophy is anyone here. I thought that was everybody. I'm like, oh, I gotta start buying characters.
I thought it was too.
So my dumb ass bought Nash, and I was like, why did I buy him?
I bought him too. And then the only other things I bought was I bought 2 different cart paint jobs, and I think a set of wheels, and that was it.
I have bought a lot from the pit stop so far, besides my dumbass move buying Nash, which I wish I could just take those coins back, but I ended up I bought 6 decal pieces, I bought 2 characters, I bought 3 colors. And it's not too bad. I noticed that on the side, they have the main featured ones. It's cool they change every 24 hours so you can constantly get new content in the shop. I wish you could just go down and buy certain things, but I can see why they want people to, like, work towards buying certain things in succession. But,
although, to be fair, right now, I've only ever seen, like...
Coco Fairy Tale was one of them.
Yeah,
the Summertime one was
those are the only 2 ones that I've seen. Because there's always that one, and then there's always a cart bundle. Because there's always... Okay, so there's always a costume bundle, and then a cart bundle. The costume bundle is... There's one that's Fairy Tale Coco, which is the Princess Coco skin, and then a couple of decals. And then the summer one, which unlocks Entrance, a skin for Entrance, and a skin for Dingo Dial.
I gotta admit, I kind of like the new ideas. I think it's kind of funny seeing Entraced, practically, or Entrance, just sitting there, like, in freaking swim trunks. I'm like, that's interesting. And then Dingo Dial just fits right in with
and then I've seen, I think, 2 or 3 different cart bundles.
I think
alongside that, and then the main stuff is always there's always one type of wheel, one type of character, one type of skin, one type of decal, one type of wheel
from each bracket. And
although the one thing that is nice is, like, if you go and, like, if you have, like, a fuck ton of coins saved up, if you go and buy, like, the one wheel that's there, it'll instantly refresh it with a different wheel
with a new thing immediately. So there's always a plethora of content. I like that they're now doing seasonal things, though, like the summertime thing. Yeah. Because around Halloween, you're going to probably have a Halloween bundle.
That'll be fun.
Winter is going to probably be, like, Polar Bear and Pentapenguin. It's just kind of cool. Spring is probably going to have maybe Pura with different things. So it's kind of cool just knowing that they care that much, that they're making new, realistic-looking things, not going out in left field with something. That it's more to what you would expect for, like, add-on content, and it's free. So can't really go wrong.
Yeah. But with that being said, we've talked about CTR Nitro Fueled for about 54 minutes now.
God, I could literally talk about CTR all goddamn day, which is crazy. So I think I'll cap it at about the 54-minute mark. That's not too bad for a podcast.
But just some quick final thoughts. I'm going to be doing, like, an actual...
We'll have a full review of...
Yeah, I'll have, like, a more condensed review that'll go up on my channel at some point. By the time you guys see this, it might even be out or be coming out very soon. But final thoughts, I really love, everything that they've done with this game. Of course, once that save corruption bug is fixed, that'll be awesome. I mean, it hasn't happened to me, thankfully, but I've seen a lot of people complaining on Reddit about it. Of course, all the free DLC coming, that'll be fun to check out.
Imagine all the options you'll have at the pit stop.
I love the customization. I love the skins. I love the expanded roster. I love the expanded track selection. One thing that I don't know that we really touched on that much with like the actual racing mechanics is I just love how heavy the karts feel compared to Mario Kart. Like Mario Kart's very floaty, and it's like
you feel like you're just
very like even when you're drifting, like
you just feel like you're not really like on the track. You feel like you're just kind of simulating something.
And like especially like I love how in depth, and we kind of covered this a little bit, but like how hard the drifting is to actually master like the drift boost and everything. Because in Mario Kart, especially the newer games, it's easy. It's literally just like how long you can hold one single drift, and then as soon as you let go, you just shoot forward, and that's it. And whereas CTR, you need to be drifting and focus on where you're going with your drift, but also hitting the 3 boosts perfectly, and then going and then chaining it together again and keep it going and going.
Or even my personal favorite, like Polar Pass is a good example. When you go in between the figure 8 piece in the beginning, you come around, but as you're drifting in and power sliding, if you're really that good, you could actually go from the power slide when it kicks like that, and you could jump onto the turbo pad and then continue going up the track. So it's pretty cool. And hey, you have many options now for the turbos, because you could pick the CTR, the Crash Nitro Kart, the new one that they specifically designed, and you can even look at your tires now, because in Crash Nitro Kart, the Nitro feature, it has a turbo line that goes across your tires and out the axles, so like the perfect time to boost if you're not looking in the right corner.
That's another thing that I love.
There's many options for every kind of player level to get in on it, which is great.
Yeah, to help make the boosting mechanics a little bit easier to understand, there's by pressing triangle during a race, it'll swap up how your meters look in the bottom right-hand corner.
God, the meters are so cool.
And you could change it to however you want. Like you said, there's the CTR one, the Nitro Kart one. They have a specific Nitro Fueled one. Mm-hmm. They even have one that's like a full-on like speedometer and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And you got your height. On every one, it has their own height measure.
They have their own height measure for how your jumps and how much of a boost you'll get when you land. And then, like, of course, like JP was saying, one of my favorite things is being able to see how close you are to a boost with your tires. Mm-hmm. So as you're drifting, your tires will start to heat up orange, and once they're like, you'll get the perfect boost once they're fully orange, and that's when you want to hit it, and you'll get the perfect boost, and
it's cool.
It's great.
Because even looking at going around the corner, the cool thing that they did was in Nitro Kart, they had the main part, but on Nitro Fueled, how they have the turbo line go through the tire and they align perfectly in the middle.
Yeah.
Depending on what angle you're looking at, if you can't see the middle marking of the tire, as people call it in racing, so if you can't see that stamp piece, if you look at your axles, when it's the perfect time, it'll be absolutely inflamed. And you just gotta hit it. And man, that boost is great. The sacred boost.
The sacred boost.
As Josh called it.
Well, that's what the speedrunners from CTR call it.
The sacred boost.
They call it Sacred Flame, I think is what they call it. God, and then when it's like the full-on like blue one that like you're going like full tilt speed, they call it Ultimate Sacred Flame.
Shit, I like that. I didn't even know that. So now it will be known as the Sacred Flame.
But yeah.
It was fun.
It was fun. Guys, let us know down in the comments if you're excited for CTR Nitro Fueled, if you're playing it, if you're enjoying it. But we're enjoying it, and actually right now we're about to start a live stream. Well, right now as we're recording it, not of course as you guys see it. But we're starting up a live stream. We're going to be playing through CTR Nitro Fueled's Adventure Mode on normal difficulty. We're going to be live streaming that, and then eventually we'll be doing a recorded version of the hard mode, mostly because it's going to be better in the interest of time to be able to edit that down.
And the funny part is, like, the CTR that may, or not the CTR, like the Crash Bash playthrough that might have the outtake video, I'm willing to bet between the rage and the funny fucking moments that are going to happen while we try to beat this on hard, I'm sure there will be one hell of a outtake.
Oh, I'm sure there will.
Because it's gonna be brutal. That's for sure.
But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the HPJP show. And of course, this is the show where JP and I bring random topics of discussion for your amusement. It goes live every other Saturday at noon Eastern on youtube.com/HexxedPhenom and on podcast services around the globe, places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, really any podcast service of your choosing. And with that being said, guys, until next time, have a phenomenal day.